Hey guys, it's Jedi Lex, and welcome to the 17th episode of Beyond Tatooine, where I bring on different Star Wars collectors to talk about how their love of Star Wars originated, as well as take a look at and chat about their collections. And on today's episode, I have Brandon from the Clan Brandolorian channel. So, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. So, for people who may not be following you, can you tell us a little bit about your channel, what you focus on, and where people can find you?
Yes, so I'm a huge advocate for lore, theory, Funko, and Lego. So pretty much anything within the Star Wars universe from episode 1 to 9. Of course, with the Acolyte coming out, we're about to stretch back a little bit, and the Rey trilogy coming out, we're going to go forward. So there's a whole span of Star Wars time to be covered, and that's what I like to do since I like all of Star Wars. So pretty much anything like that, Funko, Lego, collectibles as well. I try to get all of that in there and show off the collection. So, yep. Clan Brandolorian on YouTube and Instagram, TikTok.
Nice. Okay, so what were your thoughts on the Acolyte trailer then? I don't think we've talked about it just yet.
Well, I think the Acolyte is going to be very different. I don't understand the like and dislike ratio that the YouTube trailer has gotten, but I mean, like we said before, to each their own. That's going to be a huge thing with this show. I feel like it's going to be a Jedi version of Andor, if that makes sense. You know, a lot of people really loved Andor, and a lot of people don't like it. I feel like you have to love it or hate it. So, yeah, I think that's exactly what the Acolyte's going to be. I think it's going to be a different twist on what we think we know about canon Jedi, especially at this time. You know, there's a lot of High Republic and other Legends content that kind of covers that. But yeah, I'm just ready to see it and just go into it completely fresh.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely very excited about it. I think it's gonna be really cool to kind of get a like prequels essentially. So I think it'll be pretty cool. But yeah, I don't understand the like dislike ratio. I think that's like absolutely crazy. But I
Yeah.
mean, I think there's a lot of positivity though towards the Tales of the Empire. So
Yes.
that seems to be, I guess, more tasteful to, the Star Wars fan base, but I'm definitely very excited about that too. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah. I mean, as soon as Gabe actually hit me up and was like, "Dude, no way!" Like in all caps, and I was like, "What Funko did you just send me?" And I was like, "Oh shit, he's talking about like a trailer of new stuff, and it's coming out May 14th. What is or May 4th? What is this?" And I went and watched it, and I was like, "Oh man!" Like I was actually in the middle of packing some of my collectibles, and I was just like, "Oh no, I gotta hook the camera up and get the mic going. I have to, do a breakdown or just a review real quick." And it seemed like I was still just very fresh into it, and I remember the first thing I said was, "This blows Tales of the Jedi out the water," and just off of a trailer, because Dooku and Ahsoka, great. I loved everything about Tales of the Jedi, but this is bringing like 40 different characters in, as we saw like maybe six. Like Windu and young Qui-Gon. That was beautiful, but we're getting Grievous, Marok. Like seeing Marok, I literally was like, "Holy, like what?" Like
Yeah.
we don't know much about him. Everyone thought he was Barriss or Star Killer, and nope, he was just a normal Inquisitor. So yeah, I'm so excited. That's just to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us have been like, yeah, we really want like a Tales of the Sith, and I think this will be pretty close to it. But I mean, there's a lot of really big names, and I think it'll be cool to kind of get more of a backstory on Morgan and then how her and Thrawn's relationship started. Because I mean, we got introduced to her in The Mandalorian, and we were like, okay, who is she? And then all of a sudden, she's like a very prominent character in Ahsoka, and she like has this like deep connection to Thrawn, and I'm like, I don't remember that being in the Clone Wars anywhere,
Right.
or like in Rebels really, but I was like, it'll be really cool. And then we got Barriss. Maybe we'll get Luminara. We're gonna see the Inquisitors. I saw Vader at the end. I'm so excited. I
Yeah.
can't contain it. But yeah, Patrick hit me up. He was like, "Have you watched the trailer yet?" And I was like, "I'm in school right now. Like, no, like what?" And my phone is just blowing up, and I'm like, "What is going on?" And then I got home and I started like reading my messages, and I was like, "Oh shit! Like there was a trailer that just dropped. Like what did I miss?" And then I had to watch it, and I was like all caught up and in the excitement. So
Yes, and it's
definitely.
such a good time right now. I feel like with Mando 3, like for me, I was like, like it could have been so much better, but it was still good. But kind of that kind of, not necessarily a letdown, but just really high hopes after it being so long. Because last time we saw Luke take Grogu away, and then we got Book of Boba Fett, which really patched everything together. So you're like, all right, what's next? And we're already been through, this with the sequels, however everyone takes it. I mean, there's just a lot of ups and downs necessarily. We're not going on a trajectory. We're just kind of maintaining, if that makes sense. So,
Mhm,
man, it's insane right now. Bad Batch wrapping up. Tales of the Empire, that's in 3 weeks. The Acolyte, still yet to hear about Skeleton Crew, Andor season 2. Like I feel like we finally have a full slate of Star Wars content, and that's good for people like you and me because it keeps our hobbies going very strong.
yeah, definitely. I mean, there's definitely been a period I'm like, "Man, like, I don't know what kind of videos to put out, like, what am I gonna do?" And there was just such, like, an unknown waiting period, like, "Are we gonna get shows this year? Like, what's gonna happen?" Like, we know we're supposed to get X, Y, and Z, but when are they dropping? And now I feel like we finally are, like, getting back into the mojo and the swing of things, and hopefully we'll get Andor season 2. I mean, I definitely wanna watch it. I know a lot of people are not a big fan of the show, but
Oh yeah.
I would wanna see where it kind of goes, and then Skeleton Crew too, I feel like is definitely the biggest mystery now that we've gotten, like, an Acolyte trailer and things like that, but I don't know, a lot of exciting stuff.
Very much so.
Yeah. So, I guess let's jump into the first question. How were you introduced to Star Wars, or what really started your love for this fandom?
My dad, he's a huge space nerd, even in our real space. Anything from the Andromeda Galaxy to Betelgeuse, anything in between, even our moon. Like it's just the dude's like an astrology nerd. So I think I've kind of picked up on that, and him just showing me Star Wars at a young age. Like I don't remember being in the Phantom Menace. I always want to say that I remember little glimpses, but I was two at the time, 2.5 at the time. And so Attack of the Clones, I remember that. Revenge of the Sith, I remember every second. So, it's just having it growing up as a child and then watching the original trilogy. Cause once again, my dad and my grandma put me on to 70s, 80s, and 90s movies. Like I'm listening to Men at Work, Michael Jackson. Like I'm not into the, early 2000s stuff that most kids were into. Like I was into the old school stuff already. And Star Wars was a part of my dad's childhood with the original trilogy. So he just brought me up through my version of, the prequels. So yeah, I mean, shout out to my dad. He definitely was the one that got me into it. And my grandma loves it as well. So it's just the family putting me on.
Cool. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, they're like, "Yeah, my dad introduced me," because I mean, it's the same thing for me. He introduced me to the prequels, and of course, like growing up, that's when I was kind of born, was around the prequels time. So I remember that, and then getting to watch the original trilogy was always like really cool. But I had to watch that on like VHS, and of course, now people have it easy. They can just log into Disney Plus, and everything's there, and it's nice and easy. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I love the prequels.
Yeah.
Is one of those movies your favorite movie?
Oh yeah, I'm not even gonna waste your time or any more seconds off the recording right now. But yeah, it's Revenge of the Sith. It's just I always used to think that it was just blown every other movie out the water. It's just episode 3 by miles. But Return of the Jedi I feel like is a very underrated film as well, and that's my second. Then following that, Empire. So a lot of my Star Wars friends always give me shit because they're like, dude, how do you have Return of the Jedi over Empire? Like half of the film is teddy bears. And it's like, dude, you have to understand it's how you see it the first time. That's why
Yeah.
a lot of people, maybe didn't like the Barbie movie or Oppenheimer, just to, give like a relation, because it's like if you don't like it the first time, you're going to think about that viewing. So, seeing those movies for the first time, it's just awing. But Revenge of the Sith, I just remember everything about it, not really understanding the political side until I'm older. Like I still feel like when I watch more Star Wars, like episode 1 through 9, like I'm still learning new things in the political aspect. So that's what is really cool about this fandom in Star Wars. It's all rewatchable, but episode 3 is the most rewatchable, most enjoyable. You can be on your phone and you're putting your phone down more times than, maybe watching Solo or even Rogue One. Like, you're really eyes glued to the TV because you're like, oh, this is the awesome part where, Kenobi jumps down and confronts Grievous. Or here's when, Palpatine's telling Anakin about the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. And then, of course, the insane battle of the heroes, moment. It's just everything about episode 3 is beautiful. And I can never pass that up to any other movie in history, in my opinion. That's just my favorite movie all around.
No, I totally get that, but I love the movie, I can always watch it, I'll never get tired of seeing it, but I think it's because maybe that was, like, the first movie that I truly remember watching and, like, connecting with, but it is interesting that you brought that up because I feel like when I do ask people, "What's your favorite movie?" It's usually the one that they watched, like, first or the first positive experience they had. They're like, "Yeah, like, I remember going to the theaters and watching Empire, and it's just my favorite movie," or, I went and saw A New Hope and that's it for me. And I was like, okay. So I think it's interesting. I think the first positive experience typically will be what your favorite movie is. So that's interesting.
Yes, and it's so cool, for those loving A New Hope, because like I feel like I'm never gonna speak for you, but like I feel like with us being prequel people, we're like A New Hope is your like favorite, but me just loving the 80s and like the aesthetic, the clothing, the movies, the music, it's just like I could only imagine like what our parents or what our any relatives, friends, family, how the experience was for the first time of Star Wars. Like that it's almost chilling to think about.
Yeah, it's always cool too to like hear their experiences because like my dad will talk about it. He's like, "Yeah, we used to have to go walk to the movie theater and like we'd pay to watch it over and over and over. Like we would just go see it all the time because once it left the movie theater, like that was it for like a
Yeah.
long time." And he was like, "So we just took every opportunity to like go." But it's always interesting like hearing about their experiences or even like people that got to go see like Phantom Menace and they're like, we went all this time without having any Star Wars and then we got the trailer for it and then we went and we lined up to go watch it and it always like gives me goosebumps because like even though I was born that time, like I was like a baby. I wasn't going to see like the Phantom Menace at the time. So it's always cool to like hear their experiences going. Cause my first real theater experience was the sequels. We went
Yeah,
like a bunch of years and then we got those and then I was like, okay, like, it's cool, but it's definitely not like Revenge of the Sith. So
exactly.
it's definitely a little tough. Okay, so you like Revenge of the Sith. Who's your favorite character then?
It is tough. It's between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Boba Fett. Um
Oh,
Anakin's definitely my third. The Anakin slash Darth Vader is my third favorite, and I don't think it's going to move up or down. I think it's always just going to be right there. Um, there's days where I'm like Obi-Wan is my guy. That's my goat. But then there's days where even just like seeing some of the Boba Fett stuff in my collection because that's what I have the most of. I'm like, ah, man, it's Boba Fett, and it's everything that has to do with like the Mandalorians. And like even though he wasn't a Mandalorian, he still, wears his father's armor, who was a Mandalorian. But I'm I kind of look at it, I played basketball growing up and I was fortunate enough to play in college. But like I like to do the GOAT comparison, MJ, Kobe, LeBron. Like LeBron is 3 on my list and he's not moving up or down. Like Kobe or MJ is interchangeable for me. So that's how I look at my Star Wars big 3. Um, and I just, if I'm gonna have Obi-Wan or Boba take the last shot always, so yeah, it's kind of interchangeable. I think right now Obi-Wan's my favorite, but if you were to ask me in 3 hours, I might say Boba Fett, to be honest. So it's up and down. It's all over.
okay. So do you just like them because, one's like a Jedi, or is there like a certain aspect about like their character that you really like connect with?
So I like Obi-Wan because I feel like I'm a very calm person. Like it takes a lot to make me mad. So, and I feel like that's the same for Obi-Wan. And I feel like we really get to see more and more of that from Phantom Menace to the Clone Wars. Because, he's young during these times. And then by the time of the Clone Wars, he's starting to really take on that responsibility of training Anakin. So, he has the most patience out of any character. I feel like he has more patience than Yoda at times. And that's what the Jedi way is. You got to have the patience. You have to stay calm, collective, be keepers of the peace. And I think Obi-Wan, even though Qui-Gon trained him and Qui-Gon was, way in left field for good reasons, I feel like Obi-Wan is just right in between, and he's the most tried and true Jedi that you can think of, in my opinion. Um, he's 3-0, 4-0 against Anakin. Like, yeah, the biggest bad in the galaxy besides Palpatine, and Obi-Wan's taken him out every single time. And some people were like, but he died to Vader, and it's like, but did he though? He let
Yeah.
himself go. Ultimately, he won that because he said, if you strike me down, I'm gonna be, big, better than you could ever imagine, stronger than you could ever imagine. So it's, yeah, Obi-Wan. Yeah, right now, just talking about it, Obi-Wan's my favorite character. But I love the
Okay.
mysteriousness of Boba Fett, and I feel like that's why a lot of people like Boba. The Book of Boba Fett was the biggest thing to me, until we got the Kenobi series, because I was like, man, I want to see how he gets out of the Sarlacc. That has to be my number one thing. And the first, clips we see is him in the Sarlacc, and literally, like, I remember waiting until 2 a.m. and I'm just like, oh my god. And like, I always remember this, the weirdest detail: the TV in the bedroom, like the brightness is like dimmed down a lot, so I'm like sitting there looking like, what the hell? Like, is he like just hanging up somewhere? Is this like a way back flashback where he's like in trouble or something? And uh once he turns his light on, it's the, you can see the, internal organs of something. So you're like, oh my god, he's in the Sarlacc pit. And then the stormtrooper, and the questions like, how did that get in there? Like, what happened? And all of the other like Weequays and Nictos that fell inside of the Sarlacc right before him, like, where are they at? But just getting that clarity finally, I feel like that's the best thing for us Star Wars fans, is the clarity, those moments like, oh, okay, this makes sense now, and it's not legends anymore. It's not, a fictional canon. Like, this is the real thing. So, and I just love everything about, seeing Boba again in The Mandalorian. I felt like they brought him back in such a great way. And the Book of Boba Fett, actually made me like Boba more. I think some of the pacing was up and down as well, and it just kind of dipped for a long time before it went back up. But I like the approach that they took of Boba being different, taking a different route, because I feel like if they just kept him as a bounty hunter, like, what good is that going to do? He went through like a Zen moment with the Tuscans. He's looking at different ways of life. It only makes sense. So I like that. I think that, like I said, in a couple hours, if you were to ask me, maybe just thinking about Boba, I'm like, yeah, he's gonna take the throne for me. But yeah, right there, they're hand in hand.
Okay. I mean, definitely very valid points. I think the mystery that surrounds Boba is what like kind of really draws people to his character. But I know that clarity is also a very important thing for at least our fandom, just having things cleared up. But I did hear that, by them clearing up Boba and kind of taking the mysteriousness away from him by introducing him in The Mandalorian and then doing his own series, a lot of people had a lot of different mixed opinions about it. I thought it was cool to kind of see a different side of Boba, but I could also see where the dislike for that show comes from just due to pacing and like writing. I mean, we got the Power Ranger motorbike guys too. That was always interesting. But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely pretty, I think he's less mysterious now to me, but I think that's why people really liked him. So I don't know if that really changed people's opinions on the character. But Obi's also always been like he's I don't know. He's always so like very straight and narrow. Like he follows the Jedi way like to a T. Like there are times where I feel like he is like, like with Satine, for example. Jedi are not supposed to have that, relationship and the connections like that. But he's like kind of got it, but kind of not. And then, he just really stays true to the Jedi way, I feel like, where a lot of other people I feel like waver in their own aspects. So I can
Absolutely.
see why, the two of them are pretty high on your list.
Yeah, that's a good arc too with Satine, and
Yeah.
it's always cool when he said that, like if she told him like the words he would have left, and it's like, wow, like you teetered actually, and it's not that he like teetered to the dark side or anything. It's just that he saw a different way, and that's cool because that I feel like a lot of Star Wars, entails the real life, the decisions we make, like everything leading us up even to talking about this right now, like decisions led up to this. Anything you do when you go eat something, it's cool. The little things matter, and it goes to real life.
Yeah, it definitely does, and I think that's why a lot of people like Star Wars, or at least why I like Star Wars, is because I feel like even though it feels so distant, it's, like, definitely in our everyday life, like, in a different
Absolutely.
form, but I think that's why I really love Star Wars and why I've connected with certain characters because I can kinda see the parts of them because 'cause they're written by people just like us, but
Yeah,
they're made to be different characters that are in a galaxy so far away, but I think by writing the characters and their stories, there are pieces that we can relate to, and I think that's why a lot of people really love Star Wars. But, huh,
I agree.
yeah, okay. So Clone Wars, you like Obi. What would be your favorite show then?
Mm. Show. Okay, so I feel like it's kind of a toss up, but I'm gonna have to go with the Mandalorian. I feel like
Okay,
that is what brought me back into Star Wars because I like it came out, the same year um Rise of Skywalker came out. And I feel like I wasn't as torn as most fans were during that time, especially. Um, but I just felt like that was what kind of brought me back because I feel like after high school I kind of fell off Star Wars a little bit. I wasn't really watching too much shows or anything. Like especially like once I went off to college, I was just trying to do everything else, be in the gym, and I just was focused on other things at the time. So now once I had the right mind space to get back into Star Wars, it felt like I was a kid all over again, plus with new content. So I feel like I was when I got back into it, I was pretty spoiled with watching the Clone Wars for the first time in 2019. Like, and a lot of people were like, "How did you go that long?" And yeah, so Clone Wars, Rise of Skywalker, and the Mandalorian all coming back out. So yeah, Mandalorian definitely my favorite show. I mean, Book of Boba Fett and the Kenobi series definitely are right there with me. Um, but yeah, Mandalorian for sure.
okay. So were you a fan of season 3? Because I know that was definitely, like, a mixed bag for a lot of people.
Yeah, so I've and this is the one thing I always bring up when I talk about season three. George Lucas always talked about, bigger actors, being in Star Wars. And Samuel L. Jackson is such a gifted talent of an actor and a human being. From what I've seen, I've never met him, but if I can watch any interviews, YouTube videos of anything with Samuel L. Jackson, his movies are magnificent, and he just seems very genuine and true. So he can do it. He played Mace Windu, and you're not thinking about him in Pulp Fiction or Jackie Brown or any show like that, Django. Like, as funny as some of his characters are in some movies or serious, he plays Mace Windu phenomenally. So I think the Jack Black and Lizzo part threw me off. The best thing in that episode was seeing a super battle droid again.
Yeah.
And Christopher Lloyd's character, I love Back to the Future. That's another thing my dad put me on when I was a kid. I love Doc Brown. I love Christopher Lloyd. He's always at Comic Cons. He's never backing out of them. Like he's for his fans, and he's for any job that he has. So and I like how he talked about the separatists and King Dooku, Count Dooku. I love that he was given those lines to say, and I think he did a great job. But I don't know. I feel like it was just like a waste of a character in a way. But I think it was all good until that episode, and I just felt like a long subway bus ride between Bo-Katan and Den and Grogu. I'm like, what's going on? Like you didn't have to show this at all. So, but once after that, the last 2 episodes were insane, like, was the armorer a Mandalorian? You know, like, what was her thing in the episode? The Spies, I think it was called, the second to last one. You're like, "Oh my god, she's a Mandalorian, she's playing, Moff Gideon's side." But nope, it all turned out well, and I loved Moff Gideon's character. I feel like they just kinda made him really badass for 5 minutes and then put him to the side, and I love Giancarlo Esposito. I'm a huge Breaking Bad fan too, so it's like, no, like, no, it's just a lot of things. I was like, but I do love the focus on Bo-Katan and like Axe Woves and Cosca Reeves being reprised again. But Bo-Katan's definitely Mando season 3. Shout out to that season in a positive way. Made me like her character a lot more.
Yeah, I think it was definitely more Bo-Katan focused in season 3. There was definitely some things I could have done without, but I think overall I liked it, but I feel like the whole time we're, like, building up to getting to Mandalore, and then, like, all of a sudden we're just, like, there.
Yeah.
You know, it took, like, no time to get there, and I was like, "That's so interesting," because over the past, like, 2 seasons, like, that's been the goal, and now we're just, like, here within the first few episodes. It was definitely pretty interesting, and I wish they, like, kind of explored the mythosaur more than just, like, a little glimpse of it, because
Mm.
I feel like that would've been crazy. I mean, like, having Mando or Bo, like, ride it, that would've been insane. But I did think it was interesting that they kind of brought Moff Gideon into that kind of light, but I don't know. Definitely wasn't a fan of Lizzo and Jack Black. I wish, it felt very cameo based that episode, and I didn't understand why. Like, it's such a good series to begin with. Like, you didn't have to kind of like push the issue with that. So that never made sense to me, but I don't know. I didn't mind season 3. It's definitely not my favorite out of the 3, but it kind of has me excited for the Mando and Grogu movie because I don't know what to expect with that. I mean, we're not going to get it for like 2 more years. I think like 2026, I think they are saying now,
Yeah,
something like
May
that.
22nd. So about, 2 years from now.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what to expect from it. I wonder if it's going to be like a continuation of the series or just something like completely different, but I'm definitely pretty excited about it. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I don't know what direction they're gonna go, but I do love how they ended season 3, to kinda cap that was, kind of the circle close, like it's Looney Tune style on Grogu, and then it, cuts. And I think that was a good subtle, subliminal way to say, "This is the end of this chapter, and we're gonna go explore other things." And I like how, right before that ending scene, we see, you know, Mando and Grogu walk into the like little parlor place, and they're talking to Grief Karga, like, "Hey, we need some missions. I got to train my apprentice and other ways," and that's just a good callback alone. And I think that's really cool that we're going back to season 1 details, but with Grogu, I would love to see Din Djarin say, "We have to get this bounty. Go ahead, like this is you." And he just kind of like, like even the little things like looking at, Din Djarin and being like, "Wait, what? I can't do this yet." And I'm a huge advocate. I want him to start speaking. I just think it's time.
Yeah.
And you already know, like, especially like when Grogu was his name, like a lot of people were like, "What the hell? Like that's stupid." It's like, no, it's perfect. It aged just, perfect. But I know once he starts speaking, people are gonna be like, "That's what he sounds like." Like he's and I know a lot of casual fans will just be like, "He doesn't sound like Yoda." And it's like, well, Yaddle doesn't talk like Yoda. Yoda only speaks like that because he's paying homage to his master. Like that's the riddle, like Luke said, that's how he spoke. So just because Grogu is the same species as Yoda, I don't think that there needs to be any more comparison than such. So I just really hope the Mandalorian and Grogu, since it's one now, they really show that clan of two that they built in at the end of the first season, going into the second, and just continue that good good dialogue. And especially since it's a film now, there can't be filler. Filler just kills me sometimes, and I understand it, but it's just like, hey, let's get to the point. We don't need a 20-minute X-wing, chasing, or yeah, an X-wing or a TIE fighter chasing the N1. Like we don't need that. Like maybe 30 seconds. I just want filler cut and just John Favreau to deliver the movie he wants, because he is like, yeah, I have this vision and it's going to be breaking records and putting asses in seats. That's what I want too. So I hope that's what we get.
Yeah, I definitely have all the faith in him, like, delivering a really good movie, but I do wanna see Grogu a little bit older, like, possibly speaking, maybe even using a lightsaber. We'll see. But yeah, I
Crazy.
don't know. I mean, it would be crazy, but I do wanna see him older. I definitely love the young Grogu aspect, but we've gotten him for 3 seasons now. Like, it's time to see him kind of progress a little bit, like, talking more possibly, but at the same time, I also thought season 3 kind of ended with, like, a bow on it, you know? They're in their little cottage, Grogu's playing, like, Din's just sitting there, like, I thought it was perfect, so I always found it interesting when people are like, "No, there's gonna be a season 4." I was like, I feel like they really kind of wrapped up the season nicely to then, like, where would you continue from there? So I think a movie is definitely a better choice. There might even be a bigger budget, I think.
Oh
And,
yeah.
you know, I think the timing of it, there definitely won't be filler. I really hope not. Cause I feel like with shows, you can definitely get away with the filler. It's not everyone's favorite, but I feel like with movies, it's tough because you really have like maybe max 2.5 hours to really get everything in there. So you definitely have to make cuts and stuff. So hopefully there's no filler. My fingers are crossed.
Yes. And I think the biggest thing also that brought up Grogu with a lightsaber is the insane amount of attraction from animated to live action with the dark saber. Like Moff Gideon did smash it, we saw that, and that was the end of it. But I'm really hoping that they kept the crystal at least, and Grogu can maybe forge his own like dark saber 2.0 with the same crystal. Like I think that would just be insane. Maybe not even like sword like, but lightsaber like, where it's rounded
Hmm.
and like kind of tube. I think that would be a good look, like with the black blade with the white cracks on it. That would be insane. Like imagine how many like you. I'm pretty sure if there's a dark saber 2.0, we would all have it in our collection of some sort. There's going to be kids at Walmart asking mom and dad or whoever's their guardians, like, can I have this? And it's Grogu with a lightsaber. That's what we all want. It's going to be a good market point. They know that. They should know that. But yeah, like I'll take my money.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a cool lightsaber concept because it's not like the typical, you know, green or blue or maybe even purple or yellow. But yeah, I definitely thought that that was interesting how they kind of just did away with the dark saber like that. I was
Yeah,
like, you know, it's such like a prominent thing and it has been throughout the Clone Wars, throughout everything. Like having the dark saber means like you're in power, like you wield it for a reason. And
right.
then it just got smashed and I was like, like, what just happened? So, I wonder if they are gonna kind of do something with that, because that would be cool. Because I definitely didn't like how they kind of just, like, smashed it and then, like, called it a day. I was like, "That has been such a prominent piece of everything to just
Yes.
smash it in, like, 3 minutes." That was, like, crazy to me.
Yeah. Plus, like Grogu is like the second coming of Tar Vizsla, who created it. Half Mando, half Jedi, and that's exactly what Grogu's going down. He was brought
Mhm.
up as a Jedi. His training obviously wasn't finished. We know his mind went dark, and now he's coming up as a Mandalorian. So he's the same thing as Tar Vizsla. It's not like Sabine, is the next Jedi Mandalorian, because I don't think she, wanted to choose that. Ahsoka kind of pushed that on her, like it all makes sense with Anakin being like, one day you'll have a Padawan, and she says no, and it's like, stop it. You're Ahsoka Tano. You're gonna have an apprentice. So, I mean, Grogu's basically the second Tar Vizsla, so I think that'd be really cool if we could see that.
Yeah, that definitely would be pretty interesting. I'm here for that. I would like that. Okay, cool. Well, you also sent me some pictures of your collection. You want to take a look at those, kind of walk me through them?
Yeah, absolutely. Would love to.
So we can kind of see this a little bit behind you. I see some Funkos, see a Boba helmet, some Legos. What do we
Yep.
got?
All right. So, right on the bottom left, I'll kind of point that Boba Fett out. That is a Boba Fett. That's the Hallmark Boba Fett Funko Pop ornament. We obviously don't have a tree up right now to put that on, so it sets up perfectly on its legs. And I absolutely love this movie poster with Luke and R2. And what's so funny is the first time I ever seen Tony from Star Wars Sith was way over a year ago. He actually made a review video of taking the Luke outside of that, and it was just super weird how we all came together. And that was the first video I had ever seen, and never knew I'd be intervening with content with him. So that was kind of cool. So every time I see that, I think of that video, and that's just a staple in my collection. I love it. Can't wait for more. There are rumors for a Phantom Menace one, so if that comes out, that would be beautiful.
Yeah, I would definitely be. I just don't like, I feel like it's massive though. Like I feel
Yeah,
like it definitely could be like the retro comic size where it's like a little bit smaller. Cause I remember seeing it in person. I was like, I really want that, thinking it was like the small size. And then I walked up to it in like Hot Topic and I was like,
yeah, it's
whoa.
massive.
Yeah. But I think we talked about it kind of yesterday on the podcast, but we were like, what would be really cool is if we got like a young Anakin and then the background picture is like, I forget what the huts are called on Tatooine, but like the little thing, and then it's got the shadow of Vader behind him with like little
Ooh,
Annie. And we were like, that would sell like hotcakes. And I was like,
wow.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a good look. Yeah.
that
Yeah,
would be
who's not
pretty
getting
cool.
that? I'm getting that.
I think all of us were gonna get it on the show, but I was like, I don't know if they're that creative, but I feel like when you think of Phantom Menace, like aside from the typical movie poster, like that's the image that I feel like really comes to mind, especially with the 25th anniversary like rolling around and like Empire magazine and stuff. So we were
Yeah.
like, that would be pretty cool, but who knows? They may just do like a typical movie poster like that.
Yeah. That'd be a good look. I'd be here for it 100%.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that was pretty much it on that. Oh, the Black Series Boba Fett helmet re-armored. That is insane. I do want the Return of the Jedi one, just kind of like the 18-inch pop behind it. That is awesome. My my mother-in-law and my father-in-law got me that for Christmas, and that thing, I stare at it every day. And I know a lot of people have it, but I'm like, I have it. And I love it so much. That thing is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, they're definitely pretty cool. They have the Return of the Jedi helmet, right? I think that was like announced
Yeah,
recently, like a Black Series. Okay.
I'm gonna need that thing.
Two. Is that the only helmet that you have, or do you have others?
Yep, that's the only one I have.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I haven't gotten a helmet yet. I've been really trying to stay away, but I think Black Series and the how it looks and the affordability of it, it makes it like really difficult.
Yeah.
So it's tough. Okay, and then we're moving down your Legos.
Yes, so this is actually right beneath the previous picture. So that is just half of the helmet series I have from the Lego helmet collection. The Leia Bush helmet is insane. I remember seeing the renderings of that, and then finally when it was leaked, I was like, "Oh man, that is coming home with me once it releases." And I was late to the Cody and Rex. I actually was very fortunate enough to be patient and wait from the $70 price point to 56, and that $14 difference is massive. It's insane,
Mhm.
but yeah. And I remember March 1st, 2022, I believe, is when the Mandalorian helmet came out, and I went to Target. I was at the door at 7:55, and sure enough, they had three of them sitting there. But I don't know about any Targets by you, or if you go on opening day, but they just don't have things out no more. I don't know if that's just my Target, but like when I go in, I'm like, "Do you guys have this?" And they're like, "Yeah, let me check the back." And then they come out with it, and I'm like, "Oh, put it out." Like you're losing that like faith of walking in and seeing it, and you're just like, "Oh yes, take my money now." It's like it's
Yeah.
just not the same.
Yeah, it definitely I mean, for Lego wise, I go to the Lego store just so I can like accrue my points because
Yeah,
that definitely helps. But there's times like I've gone and I've waited and I've gotten there early and I walk over to like the collector spot to go see if I can find that Funko and it's not there. And I'm like, guys, it's like for Target Con, I walked over, there was not a single Target Con pop out. And I was like, so I went and found someone. I was like, "Hey, it's Target Con drop day." They're like, "What is Target Con?" And I was like, "Well, do you have this?" And they typed it in. They're like, "Yeah, they're all in the back. Let me go grab you one." And I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, you guys kill me." Like I love walking over and being like, oh, "There it is," and like grabbing it for myself or like even inspecting the box. And I feel like it blows when I go to Target now.
Yeah, and it's like it makes you wanna, like, put in an application and do Target right. You know what I'm saying? You're like, "Okay, Imma do things right around here."
I'll put out all the Funkos and the Legos, don't you worry. That'd be my only position, stocking the Legos and the Funkos.
Yeah, don't put me in apparel, I'm in toys, okay?
Yep,
But
that's it.
yeah, all the Brickheads too. I can't wait for the Phantom Menace ones that come out next month. That's gonna be awesome. I'm a huge fan of the Brickheads. I think they're underrated. And plus they're cheap. I mean, you can like the Ahsoka and the Tusken Raider, 9.99 for the single. And I know the Vader and the Kenobi went for 19.99. Got those for Christmas. And then the Battle of Endor Hero Pack, that is awesome. I love the size of Wicket and R2. It's very true.
Yeah,
And then yeah, the minifigs down there, those are all actually on a $5 clearance Target spice rack, clear acrylic. So I just took one of my old Lego base plates, cut it to size, put some like double-sided like tack, like a little tack strip, and holds it down. And yeah, that's what that is.
cool. Yeah, I have to figure out a way to display my minifig, so when you sent that, I was like, "Oh, that's actually a pretty good idea, I like that." But I love the Brickheads, so I love that you love the Brickheads too. I
Yes.
think they are, like, basically the Lego Funko Pops, as one of my friends pointed out, but I love them. I've For a while, I was buying customs of them because they just weren't coming out with them, so it's been, like, really cool that, now I think for, like, May 1st, May 4th, they're gonna do the Phantom Menace one, which I'm super
Yes.
excited about. I think the Queen Amidala one's by far the coolest one to me, but I love that they're doing more Brickheads because I love them, so
Yeah, they're tight.
they are. And then I think that's a closer picture of the minifigs.
Yep,
You
and
got the
that's
meditation chamber.
yes, that was $70 at Walmart too, and I got it for 50 at the Lego store in Kansas City. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll take this."
Nice.
So yeah, that's just a little up close.
Cool.
And then another, yeah, I knew I sent another up close, but yeah, that's kind of the start. Admiral Sloan down on the far right, and then kind of I try to keep all the clones together. So I mean, I have all the 501st. I think is Mace Windu's 282nd. I mean, it's insane how it's like 117, the 99, um,
212.
375. It's like, what?
Yeah.
But, yeah, some of Mace Windu's clones, and then 501st and 332nd. I remember once that, Ahsoka's clones came out, I was like, "Yep, going to Target that day." And, yep, that was one of the ones they brought me from the back, and I was like, "Yes, I'll take that, please, and thank you."
Just
But
drop that in
then
my cart.
yeah, and then, kinda going back to it's like half, like, Rebels, half, um um, Nyctos and dancers from the Boba Fett's throne room mixed in with some Cara Dune, Moff Gideon, and a Dark Trooper, and then into like the Mandoverse, and then a sprinkle of Chewbacca in there, and Rise of Skywalker Lando. So yeah, that the middle is definitely miscellaneous, and then the back is all like kind of like lightsaber wielders, except for one of
The
the yeah, we got, Boba Fett and Holiday Wicket, General Grievous back there. That was a new one. My friend Malcolm hooked me up with a um 2020 General Grievous Starfighter Lego set. And just a quick story on that actually, because it's just insane. I still think about it all the time. So one of his coworkers was like, "Hey, are you into Lego?" And he's like, "No, my homie is." Like, I'll hit him up. And he's like, well, his friend bought a storage unit for $20 and it had the AT-AT, not the UCS, but it had the play scale.
Yeah.
160, I mean, still like $160 AT-AT. Had the AT-ST with a red leg for Mandalorian, Grievous Starfighter, and then a couple Marvel sets, I believe, and then like 6 coach purses that were still wrapped. And yeah, so like obviously this value is insane for $20. And I was like, man, he FaceTimed me and I was like, dude, that Grievous Starfighter is crazy. And I could hear the guy, he's like, I'll give it to you for 100. Oh, okay. I'm like, give me an hour. Let me think about it. He's like, all right, that's fine. So then I text my boy Malcolm back. I'm like, bro, I'm just gonna wait. I think I can find it on eBay for cheaper, and then I can just get it when I want to. And then, long story short, he knocks on my door later that day, and he's like, "Here you go, bro." I'm like, "You bastard, man!" He bought it. He talked him down to $80, but it's still just like, God damn it, man! Like, I appreciate that. But yeah, we've been good friends since we were really young, so that was cool for him to just show up to the house and be like, "Here you go." I'm like, "Damn, bro!" So his birthday is actually in a few days, so I gotta get him something back. Hopefully, he doesn't see this, but but yeah, that one's always awesome to look at.
Cool. Nice. I mean, this won't air till Thursday morning, so hopefully you'll
Yeah,
have
he'll
some
be fine.
time. But so are those all minifigs that you've gotten from sets that you've purchased, or do you purchase minifigs, like, separately?
I have never purchased a minifig by itself yet. I almost spent 30 on a Kit Fisto, which to me is like I love Kit Fisto. And then I have still yet to find a Quinlan Voss, of course, but I want to get that set that he's a part of because I just think that would be awesome to have, especially if we do get to see him hopefully in the near future. I think that set will just skyrocket. But yeah, these are all from sets, and then I still also have sets that have the minifigs in them still. Like so, like any of the dioramas that have them, they're still on there because that completes the set.
Mm,
Um, like Boba's throne room, like I have him and Fennec sitting on the throne. The duel on Mandalore, Ahsoka and Maul on the like chair, got that. They're on there. And yeah, so stuff like that. If it completes the set, yes. If it's a ship, I'll usually pull them out. That way the X-Wing or the Fang fighter can all just like sit by itself. And I'll just put the minifigs into the kind of the clutter like that.
okay, cool. Yeah, I need to do that because like a lot of the ship ones, like they come with multiple figs, but there's really only like one cockpit. So I have them just like sitting
Yeah.
around, and then my cat comes and like hits them, and I'm like, I gotta figure out something to do with these because I can't deal with finding them on the floor anymore.
Yeah.
So we'll
No
see.
doubt. Oh yeah. And
Ships.
Boba Fett's palace down there, that's one of the most underrated sets in my opinion. I think the $100 price point is insane. I think 60 would have been perfect. And those kind of turned into shelf warmers. I don't know if you ever noticed that, but it's like, damn, that sucks. I know you and I have talked about the Fennec Funko Pops at Walmart, and it's like, dude, such a badass character, and it's just a shame that she's on clearance for 327 and people still aren't buying them. But yeah, I felt
Mm,
the same way with that. The Bad Batch shuttle, rest in peace. Spoiler warning. Damn, I love that ship. It's amazing.
I still can't believe that happened.
It gave me Razor Crest vibes.
Yeah, it did. I'm sure they're gonna find a new ship that'll be like that, but I mean, I feel like I've just become so connected to it. We've
Yes.
gone this far now, 3 seasons with it, and it's just gone like that. I mean, I got the purpose of it and why that had to happen, but it's just so tough.
Yeah. And yeah. And the Imperial shuttle too. Love that. I always want to get some stands. I actually found a distributor who actually makes clear acrylic stands. I see a lot of sellers that have like black stands and it just doesn't stick as right. So I'm hoping to get some of those acrylic. That way these can be kind of like in flight mode because I hate to have it in landing mode. I mean, it still looks menacing and badass, but I mean, flight mode, especially for the Marauder, it's just how spread out the wings are. It's perfect.
Mhm.
And then the Inquisitor scythe, I love that set because I called it. I knew seeing the trailer of Kenobi for the first time. I was like, that ship at the beginning is going to be a Lego set. Mark my words. And it was, definitely odds were plus 1,000, but it hit. I'm like, oh my god. So I was like, I gotta get it. Plus the minifigs, in my opinion, are amazing. The Riva, the Grand Inquisitor, Fifth Brother, and the blue poncho Kenobi. Yes, give me that. And it's
Yeah.
sleek. It's a super sleek ship. Love it.
Nice. Yeah. I think my sister got me the Boba's throne room. I think she picked it up at like Costco and
Mm,
it was totally like on sale and she was like, I'm gonna just get it for you. And I was like, okay, that's so nice. So now I've got that like sitting with like all my Boba stuff. But the
yeah.
stands, I will say, make a huge difference display wise. Cause then you can almost kind of put stuff like under them and it's really cool when you can like expand the wings out or kind of like position them in a different way so I'm glad that I got into doing the stands, but yeah, highly recommend.
Yeah, I need to invest.
Yeah. I mean, I bought from Wicked Bricks, and I know they take forever to ship, but I've definitely been impressed with what I've gotten from them. But if there is your person like in the States?
Yeah, it's I would have to look. It's Jean's version on Instagram. She does a lot of
Mhm.
Lego stuff, and I actually commented on one of her reels because I was like, "Man, that looks so dope!" How she has like all of the smaller scale ships, like tilted, like you were saying, and stuff underneath. Just it just looks better. It makes it look less cluttered because I like how my stuff's set up, but it's what I can do right now. So I mean, with the stands, it would just be insane. And she dropped their and I can't remember their name. I I'll have to look. I think they're US.
Okay.
Each stand was like $15 US. So I was like, oh, like I'll buy a few of those, and yeah, I'll be good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely let me know. Interested
Yeah,
in finding some stands that won't take a month or 2 to ship.
yeah.
So
I
that's
haven't
always
tested them out yet, so I'm thinking after we move, I'll be able to start investing a little bit more and then make everything better. So
yeah. Gotta get creative. I feel like that's a part of the collecting and displaying part is finding new ways to display your collection.
oh yeah, and it's so fun too.
Oh yeah, I love rearranging my stuff occasionally. Sometimes it gets a little hectic, but
Yeah, it's very very tedious at times, but it's all worth it. But this one right here, this was kind of a awkward angle because I was gonna put the Dark Trooper attack between the throne room and the trench run, but it was just one sided because it's like a wall. It's kind of like boarding the Tantive 4.
mhm,
It's the wall. It just looked weird in the middle, so I put that on the right side. It's actually below, so I put the Pop Vader in the meditation chamber right there. Thought it was just fitting, and it fit. So, but yeah, I love the diorama sets, and I can't freaking wait for the Boonta Eve. And I actually, before we got on here, I saw that someone found it on eBay. Like someone was selling it on eBay, and I saw the picture, and it still has the black with the blue trim, like that they're doing for the 25th year. God damn, they're killing it. They're killing
yeah.
it right now.
Yeah, I will be in line on May 1st to go pick up that set because I
Yeah.
I love pod racing and I absolutely love the dioramas. I think I have all of them except the Endor speeder chase, but I have to have that pod racing one because it just looks so sleek, and I feel like it's iconic Phantom Menace, but in a diorama form, so it's like
Yes.
it's amazing. So,
And you get the like the end of Beggar's Canyon too, like with the opening.
yes.
It's like, yes, they're killing it. Love
Yeah.
it.
It looks phenomenal, so I definitely really hope that they have a few and I'll be able to pick one up because I
Yeah.
have to have it. It'll be good. Okay, cool. And then in close up, I have this set, but I haven't built it yet.
That's all right. I need to be more like that actually because like my wife, like I can look right here and she has, like the Hogwarts castle. She has
Oh, nice.
both exotic parrots, sunflowers, the office in the closet. Like she is able to like do them periodically as me. If I see it, it has to be built. And once I start, it has to be finished. Unless it's a UCS set, then you kind of sporadically space it out that way you can enjoy it. And it's just like, man, if it's a diorama, this is getting built right now. But this is my favorite diorama. I feel like they took a leap with this set because it's one of the most iconic scenes in all of Star Wars. But what I'm hoping next year is we get the Mustafar diorama. If we got that, I think it's going to be hard. I think it's going to be so hard to
Yeah.
get because how do you not make that right? Or if it's a high ground scene, or if it's them on the like the pillars that are going down the lava river, like them on that, or even just where they begin the fight. Maybe you have Padme and like a little piece of the Naboo starfighter like built into the scene. Like, man, they know what they're doing. If they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it.
There's definitely a lot of possibilities. I've seen some really cool, like, mocks of the Mustafar, and I was like, "Ugh," like, if they were to do that, you could just take all my money. Like, even if you did, like there's just so many opportunities to or, like, different scenes that you could do, like, as you were saying, like, either any of them I'll pick up, but I think that one would be definitely hard to find if you were not first in line at the Lego store and or Target waiting for them to get it out of the back for you.
Yeah.
I would love to have that one. That would be cool. Okay. We got some
Okay.
of your Funkos.
Yes, and these are the all the Funkos that are shown here are the only ones that are out, except for Prototype, Blue Box Boba Fett, and Gar Saxon. So
Okay.
everything is actually put in boxes. And I don't know if you've packed Funkos before, but it's very, very satisfying when you fit them in the big box just correctly. Oh, it definitely released some serotonin.
Yes.
But
100%.
I need the Leia. We've talked about this, I think, 3 times now, and I still haven't got it. I need the comic Leia. I need obviously like the C3PO, the Luke, and any others that are still out there floating. I think those are pretty much all the
Vader.
ones now. Vader, yes, yes, the blue. He's like blue, kind of. Yes, yep. And I'm already lacking because I need all of them. And then the Phantom Menace ones are on their way. And I tapped in yesterday and saw you guys talking about those, and it looks beautiful. Yeah, I'm gonna need those. It's just a matter of time before they're in the collection. So yeah, these are the ones sitting out. I have every Lando that is released now. That was a really fun journey to get all of the Landos, and the rest I have below, or maybe in box. I think I have the Smuggler's Bounty in a below picture, but my wife loves the Porgs, so I had to go on a hunt to find all the Porgs. And then she also has a 10-inch Porg that's up there, and then Chewbacca holding the Porg, like every Porg. So we just need the chase, and I think that's it. I think. But yeah, and Snoke, Finn, and Captain Phasma. I think the local shop down about an hour south of me, where Jimmy stays, actually. He actually goes to the same store, but there was some sequel haters in there, so those are all half price, and I would take advantage of that. So I got those all for like $4. So I was like, hell yeah, I'll take these. And then you got to have Marin and Cal next to each other, it's
Absolutely.
very fitting. But yeah, those are pretty much it from that.
Okay. Yeah, I love the retro series. I know it's like a mixed bag for certain people, but I have all of them so far, but the 4 new ones that are coming out for Phantom Menace, I have to have them. I feel like that series is just so unique.
The mall is, in my opinion, the best comic one that they've ever even tried to create. Like, I love the Palpatine a lot. It looks so good, but that mall is just something else.
Yeah, it is. And I'm hoping it looks like even cooler when I have it in hand. So
Man.
we'll see. We'll see. And then we
And
got some
then,
more pops.
yep, that's kind of like the straight shot. I just got the Gar Saxon and Darth Maul 2-pack. I actually got that for $10 on eBay. And I knew when I saw that, once that Target Con release came out, and it was like it might have been 24.99 or 29.99, but I was like, I'm gonna wait, because I know a lot of people aren't too into Gar Saxon just because they haven't watched the Clone Wars and Rebels to understand his character more. The Darth Maul is going to be the selling point for sure, but it's really nice to have them. And then the Bo-Katan on the throne, love that. Um, then yeah, specialty series Max Rebo. I mean, I could talk about all of them, but the Kit Fisto was a huge staple. Once I got that, I was like, I feel like all of my needs right now are completed. But then, you keep looking on eBay, and then you see the Anakin with 2 lightsabers, and I've been wanting that, and I couldn't find it for less than $80. And the minute I saw someone put it up for $5, that was a starting bid. I put 40. I was like, I'm jumping ship. I'm putting 40. And I remember right at the last second, someone bid $37. And I was like, no way. So I got it for 37. So that's one of my favorites right there. And then the Disney 100 Boba Fett. The day I saw that release, I said, stop it. And then went to Target. And did your Target have those, but on the 100, like cardboard cutout?
Yeah.
I love that. I think that is so cool. And then plus I have the hoodie to match it too. But
Yeah.
I really, really love that whole Disney 100. Like, I think they should do that a lot more, especially with Star Wars being Disney. That can be kind of up in the air itself, just those two in the same sentence. But the merchandise, I think Disney and Star Wars kill it together when we get products like that. So I'm
Yeah.
here for that always. Shin and Balin, always gotta shout them out. I think that if that was a 2-pack, I think that would have done really well itself. But that's fine. They have their own identities, and we're gonna see that. So I think I think those two are really good. Got to be top shelf in my collection.
Yeah, they are cool. I mean, I still see a few of them at Target, but I finally just ended up, like, picking them up. I was like, "Oh, let me just go see what's there," and they were sitting there, and I was like I always said if I see them in person, I'll grab them. So I ended up grabbing them, and I they look amazing, especially Balin.
Yes,
Super impressed. So,
I
okay.
know. Now I'm like, I need to go pick up Morgan Elsbeth. You know, since Tales of the Empire is coming out, gotta have her in the collection. So
Yeah, I'm sure her, pop price will shoot up a little bit too.
yeah,
That always happens when there's a new show, a character's already out, the price will just go up, and I'm like, "Ugh." So,
yeah,
tough. Happened with the Rebels too, because they were all shot up in price as soon as they announced that, like, some of them were gonna be in Ahsoka.
yeah. I know, and I was like, I was late to Rebels as well. So when I saw that, I was like, or I know some friends collect the Rebels series. And I'm like, those were all like 11.99 retail last time I saw them, and then no chance you're not finding Zeb for under like $100. You know, so yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I got into Rebels late, but I like, fell in love with it, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be my mission to go find them," and I thought they were expensive at the time that I was, like, picking them up, but after they announced, like, the Ahsoka series and we were getting them, I was like, "Oh my god," like, they just became, like, so out of, like, pocket, I couldn't. There's no way, but alright, and then this is the last picture, I saved the best for last. We
yes.
got you
So
and the man.
yeah, that was a insane day. That was just I remember waking up that morning. We got the hotel in Denver, and man, I just remember breathing in that beautiful mountain air and knowing that I'm about to go meet my childhood hero. And that's what happened that day. That was insane. It was very, like I told Tony, man, it was insane how unorchestrated the fan expo part was with Hayden. Um, there was me and like thousands of people just waiting for like our slot. And it's like, there's no way you're going to be able to slot this correctly because I was like, group G time frame like 120 to 220, and it's like I barely got my time right here. Like I bought it and that was it for the rest of the G group. So like there's no way it doesn't work out right. So we had people coming out saying, "Oh, we're sorry, you know, Hayden needed to eat, blah blah blah," and there's people like screaming, "That's bullshit." And it's like he has to eat, guys. Like, come on. But it was just kind of it was kind of lackluster when they were just like, we're trying, and it's like, well, organize this just a little bit better. Like if we're before group like K, let us advance in the line a little bit, that way it can go more smoothly. So they started dividing everyone up in groups, but I mean, I could have been like, I'm group C. They weren't checking tickets or anything, you know. But I mean, it was like 3 hours waiting. Like we could have went and saw vendors, but we, you know, we did the vendors at the end, and it only took us like 45 minutes anyways. So it's fine. It's fine now because I got to meet Hayden, and it was genuine. I felt like I got more time with him than anyone else in front of me or behind me from what I saw. So yeah, it was just insane. That was that had to get framed as soon as we got back. And the Grogu right here, this picture right here is like right above me. So the Grogu my friend Colson got me for Christmas a couple of years back. And I actually saw that at Hobby Lobby and was going to get it, but I ended up getting it from him, which is cool. And then my wife has the mosaic flowers Lego right there, which to me it looks better when a picture is taken of it. It's more you can see the picture. As if you look at it with the naked eye, you're kind of like, oh, it's just tiles, you know. But when a picture's taken, it really shows its justice because I don't think you can see the brick part of it. So yeah, that's this is the nice wall right here.
Nice. Yeah, I love the Grogu, but I think the picture with Hayden is worth 1,000 words because I had like a pretty tough experience too waiting in line because we were supposed to get our I think we were like group 3 and we were supposed to do like 220, I think, or something like that. and I waited there for like 3, 4 hours. Like the convention closed that Sunday. Like we were still standing in line at 5 when the convention was like closing and they were shuttling people out and we had yet to see him. But I was just like, you know what? I'm about to meet him. And then I was like, but he also sees thousands of people a day. So I can understand. And I'm sure they oversold like signings and things like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
So I was like, I just gotta be patient. But then I was getting so anxious. I was like, I'm about to meet him. And then it like just kept getting postponed and pushed back. And then they had to do the dual photo ops. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, and the VIPs, of course, first. But then I got to meet him and it was amazing. I have my picture like up there too, so I can see it every day. But it was just, he's such a cool person, and I'm so glad that like, the people he grew up being our childhood hero, and now that we're adults, we can like show him that same love. And I think he's really enjoyed being able to see the younger fandom grow up and show him the love he deserves. So I think
I
it's cool
agree.
that he's doing all this stuff. But awesome, love it.
Yeah, it's the centerpiece of the Lego room. It's everything.
Yeah, it is. Do you have any plans to meet Ewan?
Okay, so I was just talking to my wife about it. So I saw Tony dropped on. I feel like he's just the guy right now with
Yeah.
any leaks, anything coming out. He's growing very rapidly from the time I first met him. So I seen on his Instagram story today there's maybe Chicago 2026 for Star Wars Celebration. That's only 8 no, I think it was 9 hours. Me and my wife were looking at it, but like by that time, like our son will be 2.5. So I think it would be really cool to either get Ewan or Tamora like to hold like our son and like take a picture because it's just like, man, like how cool, So definitely Ewan. I'd say Ewan is 2 on my list to meet. It was Hayden 100%. And I know we talked characters earlier and that doesn't make sense, but it's just Hayden was everything, and to know that he got bashed on, and it makes no sense. Like God, people suck.
Yeah.
But now look at him thriving, getting movie offers now. Like it was really awesome to say I met him. Same for you, and same for all of our other mutual friends that have met them and others. But yeah,
Mhm.
Ewan is on the list, and Tamora. Those 2 would be the reasons why I would go to a convention or a Comic-Con again. I do like Comic-Cons 100%, but I am on the hunt for, like, Funkos. I'm trying to, like, rush from vendor to vendor, and I feel like some people are just, like, wild, and they just, like, stand in one spot, and it's like, "Bro, I need you to move." Because
Yeah.
I see something right now that I have never seen in person before, and you're just standing here not even doing anything. But and it's not that I'm like socially awkward or anything. Like too many people don't bother me, but like I need people to move. And I always feel like I run into that problem at Comic Con. But that's the thing. That's the point. It's a lot of people, and most of us are there for the same reasons. So, but yeah, I need photo ops with Tem and Ewan, and I think my journey at Comic Cons conventions would be succeeded. Plus, I need to make my grand appearance at a Star Wars celebration.
Yes. Do you have any plans to go to Japan then?
Japan is the only, or, I mean, if I'm to leave the United States, I mean, to go anywhere, it would be Japan. I love everything about it. My favorite baseball player right now is Japanese, Shohei Ohtani. I love the Japanese culture. I love koi fish. I love cherry blossom trees. I love the aesthetics. I love Mount Fuji. I love mountains. I love water. And I love peace, tranquility, everything. Everything about Japan, beautiful. So that would be a dream come true. But moving into a new place here soon, expecting my first child, there's just a lot of money that I should save and kind of, keep right now. But I know the day will come. And if it is Chicago in 2026, it gives me even a lot more time to just save up money and have that, as the kid's first trip, family trip. So well, the day will come. The day will come. But I really wish Japan could be an option. I really wish.
Yeah. I do wanna try to make it out to Japan because I feel like that would be really cool, kinda hit 2 birds with 1 stone. But then I'm like, at some point, they're gonna have to bring Celebration back to the States.
Oh,
and that
yeah.
would probably be a lot more affordable, at least, like, flight-wise, but I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I'll try to hit Japan and then one in the States, but Chicago would be pretty cool. I would like to see it, like, back over here than because I think the past 3 years it's been out of the States, like,
Yeah, Europe
Anaheim,
last year.
London. Yeah.
Yeah, London, yeah. I remember watching that on and then Anaheim as well. I watched all of those on YouTube, like, this day streams, and it's
Yep.
just it's so awesome, and, like, man, just it would be awesome.
Yeah, because I love conventions because you can see all the Star Wars fans and stuff, but I could only imagine going to a convention that's just Star Wars fans. Like, I feel like that would be absolutely crazy. So it's definitely on my list, and I see Tony's videos all the time, and it just makes me want to like try to go even more. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I know. I was taken as a target. I'm like, "Are you making this content for, people who are going to the conventions, or are you making me jealous right now? Which one is it?" Because every time I watch any stream or, video he puts up about, celebration, I'm like, "Dude, you guys are lucky," because 'cause I'm in the middle of Kansas, like, I'm in the middle of the entire map right now, so I'm like I have options. It's like equal travel, but like, I want it, like, in the Midwest, that way it's just super easy for me to just dart wherever, and Chicago's only, it's within 10 hours, so that'd be perfect.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Okay, cool. So that was all your collection. I have one final wrap up. What would be your favorite piece or most valuable? Could be monetary or just based off like stories, but your favorite piece in your collection.
Mm, yeah, well, right now, currently, and this might sound funny, but it's just the story and the chase and the running around for it. It's actually my Chase Cobb Vanth. Out of everything it could be, that's my favorite pop. And the Kit Fisto, the Anakin from Attack of the Clones with the two sabers, those are definitely top, two in my list. But my favorite is definitely the Chase Cobb Vanth. I remember, seeing the Cobb Vanth with Boba's armor on at Target, and I'm like, oh, it's $4. I'll pick it up later. Ended up picking it up for like 3.25. Like, it's just ridiculous how cheap some of those pops can get. But at a local pop shop that we have, they had all the Star Wars ones kind of like eye level to me. And I remember seeing the Cobb Vanth, Fennec, um, I think Luke's, the Entertainment Earth exclusive ones with when he had the hood on when he saves Grogu. And I was like, okay, they got to have the chase in here or something. It's been months, I'm looking every day, trying to find it. And I didn't want to get it online. I wanted to find it in person. And I finally looked over top and I could just see Cobb Vanth's face without the helmet. I was like, no fucking way. Excuse my language, but I was like, holy shit, like what? So like I pulled the first one out, the second one out, and bam, right there. Chase sticker, and it's Cobb Vanth. And I love the actor. I think he did such a phenomenal job playing Cobb Vanth. And I was
Yeah.
like, I finally have it. And there was just once I grabbed it straight to the counter, had my card out, and I was, tap to pay right now. Let's go. I'm getting out of here. And yep, that's actually my favorite pop in my collection. It's not my best. I got the Kit Fisto, and those are my grails. Those are grails to me. I don't have, the holographic Obi-Wan from Celebration. I don't have, um yeah, like stuff like that, like Captain Rex, like, I don't have that one. But
Yeah.
the Chase Cobb Vanth, it's just the story with it and the drive for it, and I finally got it. That's the best thing in collectible hunting, in my opinion. So
It
that's the one.
is. Cool. All right. Well, before we go, can you let people know one more time where they can find you, what your channel's about, if you have anything that's coming up that you want people to be on the lookout for?
Yeah, so I have had the opportunity to come on Beyond Tatooine. This has been a great, great journey. It was always in the making. I feel like I've had Lex on my channel, Clan Brandolorian, and yeah, so pretty much anything, mainly Instagram and TikTok. I did start a Facebook page, but I'm just gonna, if it gets a viewing, I'm gonna let it do it organically. I'm not really gonna push too hard on it, but everything is all at Clan Brandolorian. Um, So pretty much everything on the socials, I'm just shouting out other creators, trying to build up this. I just feel like it's just like 100 people, and we just all just bounce off of each other, and then get our own growing, and it's really cool. And we're definitely all doing our own things, and that's what it is. But it's anytime I need someone to come on the show, I feel like I can hit you up and you let me know yes or no. I don't have to wait 2 weeks, and sometimes that happens. But yeah, Clan Brandolorian, the podcast as well. I do that on the YouTube channel. I try to focus more on YouTube, get videos out, anything lore, theories, Funko, and Lego. That's basically what my channel is about. So if you're into any of that, you can slide over my way, and that would be the way.
Awesome. Well, I will leave all of your information down in the description. Again, I appreciate you coming on. It's definitely been in the works, so I'm glad that we finally got to do this. And I will see everybody next Thursday.